Hi everyone, I'm Mark Leeming from the 1 Minute Preacher. Now, as my regular viewers already know, I live in the country. I grew up on a farm and therefore I was exposed from a very early age to the harshness of nature. I have no illusions as to how quaint and lovely nature supposedly is. Unlike many of my urban counterparts, I don't view nature through rose-tinted glasses. And it's made me think, do we as Western Christians, who, let's face it, have faced no real and genuine persecution as of yet, do we view the gospel? Do we view the Christian faith? Do we view Jesus through Western rose-tinted glasses? That's what we're going to be talking about in this morning's video. But before we do that, if you have a cup of hot coffee, tea, or any other hot beverage of preference that you'd like to start your mornings off with, a toast to having a great Thursday. Now, I must confess that because of my agricultural background, I find Hollywood's portrayal of agriculture prior to modern times rather amusing. I mean, your typical movie about, say, the pioneer times, you'll often see scenes of fields of golden wheat, completely devoid of any weeds or disease. And yet, while that may be what wheat fields look like today, thanks to modern innovations such as synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides, that's definitely not how wheat fields looked like back then. For the first time ever, we have such an abundance of food that obesity is now a problem amongst the poor. And it's easy for us to forget that this isn't normal. This isn't natural. This isn't the way nature intended it to be. And I fear that for many of us in the Western church, that's how we're beginning to view Christianity. Because we've grown up in democracies where we've received no major pushback against our faith, we can sort of think that this is somehow normal. And so we treat the gospel as though it's a form of therapy meant to make us feel better. We view Jesus as though he's a self-help guru, a spiritual life coach who wants to teach us how to live the abundant life. When it comes to prayer, instead of praying for holiness, we pray for flat screen TVs. Everything is about how we can live life to the fullest while here on this earth. And what a contrast to how Peter urged his followers to live. In his letter, known to us as 1 Peter in the New Testament, he urged them more than once not to get too comfortable in this life, but rather to consider themselves as exiles and foreigners just passing through. Suffering and hardships are just part and parcel of the Christian experience, according to Peter. And he urged us that whenever those genuine trials do come, we are to look to Jesus as a prime example of one who suffered so much. So don't get too comfortable with this life. Don't think that what we've experienced is somehow normal and here to stay. The world can easily turn against us. And when I look at our culture today, it could happen before we even know it. So how do you view Jesus? How do you view the Christian faith? Through a biblical lens or through Western rose-tinted glasses? Now, due to a bad head cold last week, I released last week's video on Friday instead of Thursday, so maybe some of you may have missed it, and if you did, you can click on it right over there. Thanks for taking the time to watch this particular video. Please do give it a thumbs up and a share, and I hope to see you next Thursday.